Hey guys, how's it going? It's Heather, the Crochet Witch. How are you doing? This is hashtag movie and stitch. N and O. Yes. So making my way through the video, or through the letters, through the alphabets. If I knew my words, we'd be doing well. Sorry, it's like 5 in the morning now. This is like the 4th video, I think, in a row that I've done. So it's only the 1st for you guys, but it's like the 4th for me. So sorry. And I worked all night before this. Yeah. So anyway, why we're here today. We are gathered here today to talk about the hashtag movie and stitch project that I am still working on, but at least I am well past the halfway point. Let's see. The movie this week was the N movie, which was The Nun. And yeah, this was awesome. I already knew it was awesome though, because this is from my favorite, like universe, which is the Conjuring universe. Cause like a lot of people love like the MCU, which is the Marvel universe, which I like that too. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people like the DC universe, and of course I like the horror universe. So yeah, it's in the same like vein of movies as it's in the same family as the Conjuring movies, the Curse of La Llorona, the Annabelle movies. They're all the same storylines intertwined. It's all the same. So if you have not seen it, and you're going to get spoilers if you see this, because it's basically like a review of the movie, and then we talk about the project that I've done with it. The Nun, chronologically, was the first movie in all of the movies. It wasn't the first one put out. That was the Conjuring one. But The Conjuring was like the flagship of all of them, obviously. But if you decide to watch them like chronologically, unless they come out with a different one that was first, then The Nun was the first one. Although in Annabelle the Creation, the very like opening scenes, they happened even before this, but like the movie itself did not take place. That was just like a flashback from that Annabelle movie. So still chronologically, this one was first. And if you've seen like The Conjuring 1 and 2, you know that one of the big bads that they ended up like talking about, they didn't talk a lot about them in the first one, but there was definitely like hinting about it, like a little bit of hinting. The first one, the big bad, was more like Bathsheba, they called her witch. I don't know if I love calling her that, but she wasn't a good chick. And she did practice dark magic. So in the storyline. So she was more like the big bad, but then they did have like flash hints at there being another like bad, and that was the demonic presence. And in The Conjuring 2, there was an even bigger like hint, like right down to like Ed Warren doing this painting of like a demonic looking nun and everything else, which the Nun was born from that. And in the Annabelle, was it Annabelle 2, that the picture, they had a picture of all of these like nuns and stuff. That same picture was the nuns that were the different nuns in The Nun. So there's a little bit of trivia for you. I haven't got to the trivia bit, but I'm just saying. So that's like how they're all like kind of interwoven and connected. And when you get to the Nun movie, like we're talking about now, that takes place in, I know that it's not the right thing to call it. I know that it's not. And I'm not Catholic, and I still know it's not the right thing. it's probably insulting, and I probably shouldn't say it. I don't mean it to be insulting. I've called it this since I was a kid, but no, I'm not even gonna say it. Never mind. It's probably insulting. I'm not gonna say it. Next, what do you actually call it? The convent where the nuns are. It's not a school, but like the church. It's the convent, right? Yeah. So like the convent where the nuns are, the main church, like the Rome or whatever, sends a priest and for some reason wants a specific nun who hasn't even taken her vows yet, like she's very new, to go with him. Well, he thinks it's because her family has like ties to the countryside, because this particular convent is in Romania. But she even says right at the beginning, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we aren't from there. And he still takes her anyway. And the one thing I realized when I watched it tonight, it never really explains why exactly she's chosen then, or it never really reveals why they say she had family there. So, like, I guess maybe it's an honest mistake, but in movies, like, it's never really a mistake, right? Like, I don't know. But that was the reason named anyway, that they wanted her to go. So they go and they meet up with the guy who does, like, the one guy in town who they know speaks English is, oddly enough, is this guy named Frenchie. And he's actually a French Canadian who had been like traveling abroad and settled there. And he told them it was because like he saw like what was happening around that area, like in Romania, and they were like, it was like basically like an impoverished area of people, and they were still like a very old school. Well, it was like the 50s, right, at this point in time. So like Frenchie had probably been there for a little while too, but these were really old school. It was like a really old school, like he called it the Dark Ages, and like he drove like a horse and cart. There was only like a couple of like big old school like trucks that were in the village. It kind of was the Dark Ages, I guess, really. And then people like wouldn't talk about the convent or whatever, the church, because they said it was like a dark place and it was cursed. And Frenchie was like the one person that would go up there and like deliver groceries and things like that to them. And when he went up there, he had found a nun who committed suicide. Like she had hung herself and was hanging like from above, like right over the steps of the church. So he pulled her down and he put her in, since it was the 50s or whatever, he put her in like this cold storage, like walk-in kind of like icebox room, because they didn't have like a refrigerator. And he brings the priest and the like kind of junior nun or whatever she is over there, beginning nun, and they go and they investigate the place, and right away like crazy stuff happens, because like Frenchie shows them where he put the body of the deceased nun, and it's like sitting up against a wall, like its face is covered up like in a cloth or whatever because it was dead. And Frenchie tells the priest, I need to tell you. And it's like, it's just sitting there, right? Like it's sitting there all still. And Frenchie goes, I need to tell you, I didn't leave it there. And they're just staring at it. And he's like, it was laying down when I left it there. And so like there's just this creep moment where you're just cringing and staring at it like, oh my God, is it gonna move? What's it gonna do? Oh my God. And at the time nothing happens because it's the very beginning of the movie, but like, I mean, obviously something happened because he left it laying down. And I mean, it was sitting up perfectly up, not like, oh, it kind of moved and its shoulders like this. No, it was sitting up, like it was creepy. And it just got worse, like creepy worse from there. Like Frenchie couldn't stay because he wasn't a member in any way of the Catholic church. So he basically dropped them off and he had to go back to town. And he told them, basically, you shouldn't stay here. Like, why don't you come back to town with me and we'll just come back tomorrow. But they didn't. They stayed. When they went inside the main part of the church, the convent, they thought they were like alone. And then this creepy, shrouded in black old lady was, who was I can't remember the name for it, but it's basically like I think they called her the Mother Reverend or something, but she's like the Mother Superior type person that you would think of, in charge of the other nuns. And they talked to her and she told them they were about to take their vow of silence, which they do, I guess. I don't know if every place does it, but I guess they do. And it was a common thing. Like, they were like, yep, that's common, or that's like what they do. So, okay, they do. So they had to stay the night. Like, they kind of had like a guest quarter off outside of the actual church. So that's what they did. And like, even that night, like, crazy stuff happened. Like, the like junior nun or whatever thought she was dreaming, and she woke up from this crazy dream only to find the priest was gone, and he had woken up from his own crazy dream about how he had a long time ago, like, did an exorcism on this kid that didn't end well, I'm just gonna say. And the kid came back to haunt him, and like, he chased him through this graveyard. It was a lot of like really tense jump scares. It was amazing. Like, I like to be scared, so it like scared the bejeebus out of me. I really liked it though. I know, I'm ridiculous. He ended up being buried alive. And she had to, the junior nun had to figure out which grave he was in, because did you know, fun fact, I did know this before, but did you know that during the older times, people would accidentally some people got buried alive by accident. So they would bury people with like a string in their casket, and the string led up to a bell on their tombstone, so that if they like were in a coma or whatever and they did wake up, they could ring the bell and let people know that they were alive down there. Could you imagine that? And that's not for the movie purposes, like, that's for real. Could you even imagine? Ugh, that's the horror part. Well, anyway, he got buried alive. She had to find him. I'll try to keep this a little more brief, but they ended up stuck in this place for a second night, but they were in the actual cathedral of the place because they got the gate dropped and they had to stay in there. The priest found out that the nun was actually the demon Valak, that's the name of it, who was in the Conjuring movies. But he had been separated from the junior nun, and she thought she was amongst the rest of the nuns that were in the place. And spoiler alert, all of those nuns were dead in real life. So, well, in real life, I mean, in movie real life, they were dead. And so she was basically like hanging out with spirits all night and demons because of Valak hanging around, like scaring them from time to time. And finally, right when things were looking really bad and Valak was starting to get stronger and was attacking them, Frenchie had showed up because he had been talking to people in the village, and they were talking about how just they were losing hope that when he returned for them, he was just going to find 2 more dead bodies, basically. So he was like, I can't let that happen. I'm going to go save them, or I'm going to go help them. So he went and helped them like fight off Valak. And at the end, like, you think it's a happy ending. He stopped the girl had taken her full vow, so she was a nun then, because she can take the vows with the priest who was there. So she did that. So she's a nun now. He's a priest, obviously, still. And she had been possessed and Frenchie saved her. And then you think all is well, and they go and he gets them out of there after they finish burying the bodies that they did find in the place. And when they're leaving, Frenchie has like this thing raised up in the back of his neck that you see, and it's an upside down cross. And then there's a flash forward, really. I'd say flashback, but it's not, because it's forward in time to the Conjuring movies, where if you've seen them, they show how Ed and Lorraine were doing, it was the Conjuring 1, when they were doing their like seminar, and they were showing movies of the French Canadian farmer who was possessed and tried to kill his family. And originally it was a different actor, but they like kind of like spliced in little clippets of the actor that played Frenchie, because it was supposed to be the same character. So it was Frenchie that basically took Valak to the Warrens later, and that's how Valak became intertwined everywhere. It's crazy. It was crazy. But that's it. I'm going to end that review because you've probably already seen it if you're interested in it, and heebie-jeebies. I love those movies, though. I definitely, if you like horror movies, I definitely recommend it. And oddly enough, that was, I guess it was the highest grossing movie in all of the Conjuring universe, and it was the lowest rated. Like, it got the worst ratings out of all of them, which I would say I don't understand, because I really loved it, but like I loved all of them, so I can't really picture any of them doing badly. Like, I thought The Curse of La Llorona did really bad too, is what I heard, and I really loved that movie too. Like, I loved all of them, so maybe I'm not the best judge, I don't know. But I love them anyway, and I still recommend them. Do with that as you will. But I do have some other trivia besides the lowest ranking, highest grossing movie. The actress that played the junior nun that became the nun in the movie, her name is Irene. So Sister Irene in the movie. She is real life sisters with the actress that plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring movies. The characters aren't related, but both of the characters are religious and Catholics. Obviously, one's a nun, and then Lorraine Warren was Catholic, and both of them have claim to have psychic premonitions, and they're played by real life sisters. So kind of neat. When the movie first came out, there was an ad for it on YouTube, and it was like I think they said it was only like a 5-second ad, but it actually had to be pulled because people that watched it said that the jump scare was too scary. So they had to pull that. And then when they show one of the trucks from the village, the big old trucks, the license plate on the truck says 6VA01LAK. And if you take out the numbers, that's Valak, right? So that's just like a little kind of like Easter egg or whatever to hint that Valak is nearby. And they did that all the time in The Conjuring 2. Like, they had letters up on, you know how you can put letters on your walls and stuff, like for playrooms and stuff like that? In The Conjuring 2, Lorraine was sitting there, like, drinking coffee, and, like, on her walls were the letters, and it spelled out Valak. She had, I want to say there was a crossword puzzle sitting out, and the only letters filled in were Valak. There was a couple different, but, like, Valak was everywhere in The Conjuring 2. So they threw in the license plate in the nun also that it was Valak. So there's that. And then on to the actual project. So, you know, I've been doing like a Halloween blanket, and it's been ooh, and then I made the movie fall. It's been solid granny squares, and I have been using Karen Jumbo in the colorway Plum Copper. And see why I call it my Halloween blanket. Is very Halloween-y to me, like different shades of purple. There's like 3 different shades of purple in there. And then this just beautiful, I know it says copper, but it is this beautiful like pumpkin-y orange. It's beautiful. And I'm fairly certain this is my last one. I did look again and I don't see another one. So I really hope that this lasts me through them all, through the last of the squares. Guess we'll find out soon. I do need to check like Joann's or Yarn Inspirations and see if they still sell it, because I didn't do that yet either. But I did get 3 squares done. And I have lined them. They're just solid granny squares. And I have lined them in, it's basically all the same type of yarn. Okay, it is, I'll show you. I have it residing in my Bon Jovi bag. So the purple is this awesome, like dark neon purple. And I think it is just called, let me check. It's called Violet. And it is a Big Twist Classic. And then my other Big Twist Classic is this orange, which I believe, I don't want to pull it out because these 2 are pretty snug in here. But this one is just called Pumpkin, I believe. And that's also a Big Twist Classic. Now this one is basically the same, except the fact that it's like a little bit more like, I don't know, like furry. Not by much, just a tiny bit. And this one is a big twist, but it's the rainbow and it was discontinued. I think the color is called Lime. And like, honestly, they discontinued this and then started carrying these. So I think they're just basically the same. So, and they definitely work the same. Like, I'll show you the squares again, but they work together the same. There's really no difference in them. So if you have some of the old rainbow and you wish you had something to go with it, this new stuff will go with it just fine. Because see, here's the green. I'm going to hold them up like this. Hold on. Let me put the green in the middle. So the green looks just fine. See? With them? It's the same stuff. The only thing I hope, because they don't have this color green in this kind. It's a different color. So as long as when I get to the border and I try to put a couple stripes of these colors around it, I have enough, I'll be fine. Because I can buy this color and I can buy this color. But I can't buy any more of this one. So I'll have to just get creative with it, because I don't want to buy any more of any of them, honestly. I just want to use my yarn. So, but yeah, I got those. And then, you know how I said that all of these yarns were doing this pooling thing, where 2 sides were doing like the stripes and 2 sides were doing this spotted thing? All of them have been. Every single one of them have been. Until, like I even did this one that is green I had 2 other balls of this, of the Karen Jumbo. I don't know why I can't think of the name of that. I had 2 other balls of this. The center up to like a couple rows is one little tiny scrap of it, because I just decided to use all of it in case I don't quite have enough. That's one. And then I got another row and like a half or so out of the other ball, maybe 2 rows. And then I finished it off with the beginning of the new skein of yarn. And it still pooled like that, right? The stripes here. And it just started to not stripe at the very edge. This one pretty much pooled in stripes. So even though that's 3 different balls, it pretty much still pooled, right? In that way. This one that I'm about to show you, this one square, was all the same piece of yarn. And this one did the striping pool on one side and not on the other three. How weird is that? Like, I don't know why it did it. But it's the only one that's only done it on one side. Every single other one has done it on two sides. No matter where I've started the yarn, I don't like pick a certain spot or anything like that. No matter where I've started it, this is the only one that's done it like this. And I definitely didn't mix them up. This is not the one that has 3 pieces of it. It was definitely the green. So I don't know what the deal is, but so, and then, yeah, so next time I will be joining these squares and maybe making my tombstones that I keep saying I'm going to try to make. Because I think I am going to try to make some and see how that goes. And that's all I got for this episode. The O movie is the next one that I'll be doing, and I don't actually have a hard copy of it this time. Sandy from Crochet A was having a bit of a laugh at me because she said I was going old school, showing you guys like DVDs that I was watching instead of like digital stuff like Amazon and everything. Which I didn't think I was being very old school. Like, to me, don't forget, I am like stuck in the 80s, right, you guys? Like Stranger Things, and not only that, but Stranger Things appeals to me because I'm so stuck in the 80s and everything that, like, to me, old school is like VHS. I think I thought I was being pretty current with my DVDs. Thank you very much, Sandy. But yeah, this time I'm gonna have to go digital because I thought I had the DVD for this and I can't find it anywhere. So either somebody has borrowed it or I didn't have it. But I am going to be doing Ouija for my next movie. So that should be fun. I really like that movie, and I like the one that follows it. I think it's called Ouija Origins for the second one. So I like both of those. But yeah, that is all I have for you for this episode. And I think I said that this was like my 4th video that I taped. So see, I am stuck in the 80s. So I'm probably going to go to bed now. So I hope you liked it, and I hope you didn't mind my review. And yeah, let me know if you've watched The Nun, or if you plan to watch it, or if you've just seen any of the Conjuring universe, 'cause I super love those movies so much. Like, they're my favorite horror movies for sure. So, all right, I'm gonna quit babbling, and I will definitely see you in more videos very soon. I love you guys. Bye.